Hello, everybody. How's things going tonight? We're actually starting on time for once, which is kind of surprising. So I wanted to stop in and see what everyone's doing tonight. Basically, today I was doing a subcooler. On that last video I did, you seen I rigged up a Milwaukee fan onto my recovery machine. And then one of my awesome viewers out there mentioned something about using a condenser off a like a small reach-in cooler. So I just so happened to have a couple of them laying around. So I went ahead and designed me a little something real quick that allowed me to. I'm gonna use it when I go back, I guess, basically on that 25-ton unit that I got to go back on. So that'll be the real test, especially being as it holds, I think, 43 or 46 pounds. So we're going to be cramming about everything we can cram into that 50-pound cylinder. And so basically, I'm kind of excited to see if it works. I figure it should. You figure normally anything coming through is going to be hot gas and it's condensing it down. So coming out of the recovery machine, in theory, should have been liquid. But, you know, if it gets as high as what it is at 400 pounds, it's likely not. So I'm kind of looking forward to trying this thing out. It's got 3 passes on it. I ended up added a couple little clips. I made a video to use on it, and basically here. And it wouldn't be complete without the official sticker there. The 2020 HVAC recovery subcooler. So anyhow, it may be other people's junk, but it's going to be my subcooler. So anyhow, got to edit that out there. I built a little cover for the front to protect the fins. That way they're not damaged when it's riding around in the truck. And I've got a place on top of my refrigerant bottles in the back that it's going to be secured. And so I think that's going to work out really well. So I'm looking kind of forward to that. Just make sure everything's working here on the live stream. We'll make sure to hit pause. So it looks like it is. Sweet. All right, awesome. But so I'm kind of excited about trying that out. And I've had some awesome feedback from everyone. I've gotten more comments, I think, on this video than I have on probably any of them. You want to check out the shirt that somebody just made me next to me. So it's pretty cool. Infusion ink, basically, she made that for me today along with a few others. So eventually we'll get one that I really like, and I may possibly do shirts. I'm not sure yet. So it just depends on the interest that's out there, because I know it's kind of expensive to get them mass produced and stuff like that. There's not a lot of profit in it, and usually they're up there in the price range. What's up, Ray? Good to see you. And same thing there, Tony. Good to see you guys out here. Same thing also, Mr. Grandpa. And Hughes, man, what's going on, buddy? And who else we got out there? Randy, I appreciate you stopping in. Hey, Chronic Flute, nice to see you too. Oh, hey, there you are. Yeah,
here I am.
Yeah. Pepsi Cola. I'm assuming you work for Pepsi, possibly. I don't know. Maybe just like it. I ain't sure. I see you pop in there every now and again. And we can see we got a couple of different Randys out there. HVAC IR, Weaver Maintenance. Got quite a few you guys out there. The usuals. Yeah, my loyal subscribers, man. I really appreciate you guys stopping in and saying hello and stuff. I had potentially some of my usual little YouTube friends possibly stopping by. I sent them the link, so we'll see whether or not they show up or not. You know, everyone's got things going on. I have considered trying to move possibly to a Sunday or something like that instead of the Saturday, because I know a lot of times things get busy, and then you just, you know, Saturday's not probably the greatest. But went ahead and did it. And so, yeah, HVAC IR. The ultrasonic leak detector I used was made by, mine just went blank when you need it most. Superior Signal. I'm actually probably going to, since I got 2 of them, and I've got the gooseneck, and I like the gooseneck just because it gets in tighter spots. But I am probably going to sell the original version, which it's a version 3, which is the newest, and it's not got a scratch on it. I'm thinking of probably selling that thing. I thought about throwing it on eBay, but if you want to message me direct, we could possibly work something out. You can see it in the video that it works and everything. So I am thinking about getting rid of it, and it'll be a lot cheaper than what they are new. The only reason why I would want to get rid of it is just because I don't need two of them. That one actually has the flexibility of doing the oscilloscope or what have you, where you can actually listen inside of things. So that's the only thing I kind of didn't want to get rid of, but it's pretty cool and stuff. So what else we got going out there? Hey, Randy, April air thermostat, 844. I don't know which one's which, but yeah, a lot of times I use the thermostat when it's got it all built into it. Let's see here. Why is there a pressure difference between the compressor discharge and the liquid line? Generally, I mean, how much are we talking? I mean, usually it's not a bunch. I mean, unless you've got something going on in your condenser coil, in theory, it shouldn't really be much. The temperature is going to change, but the pressure shouldn't change a bunch. I usually check my pressures. It don't matter to me. I like doing it off the gas discharge just because I lose less refrigerant that way. But, you know, I don't really make a big deal about it either way, but I guess I'd be curious to know if you're checking it in two different ways, in two different spots, I should say. I guess my question would be is how much is it off? 5 to 8? It could be. I mean, if you really calculate out the condenser length, far as every tube it's going back and forth, whether it's 3/8 or whatever size. I mean, you're talking potentially several feet. I mean, I hate to guess because, you know, it just depends on the condenser, whether it's, you know, a big one, a small one, or whatever. But hey, what's going on, Dead Pixel? Appreciate you stopping in. Yeah, it's working out good. I kind of like doing it and stuff. Just usually trying to find things to talk about and stuff like that. So, I mean, a lot of times we can always go over top some of the videos that I did. I can tell already the subscriber count's starting to grow pretty quickly, which is awesome. And I appreciate everyone taking the time to subscribe and watch the videos. You know, I get my biggest kicks out of talking to you guys, honestly. As you notice, I try to respond to everybody, and because I want you guys to know I actually care, you know, enough to try to respond to them all. I know eventually things are going to get so busy that, you know, or so many that I won't be able to respond to all, and then they'll probably have to be done here in a live stream or something like that. But for right now, I'm able to get to them. It's funny, it's her dog, but the thing wants to sit on her lap, and then she doesn't want to hold the poor little thing. So, but yeah, what else do we got going on in there? Yeah, Residential Basics says pressure differential is due to the pressure drop through the coil. Sure. I mean, you do got, you know, your fittings and things like that on it. So it's not usually a lot, not enough that I really get too horribly concerned about. Now, I have had times where I had a Linux one time that they soldered partially shut, and it was a newer startup, and that one threw me for a loop several years ago. And I mean, we were checking everything and no restrictions anywhere. And finally, I found it down there where it was starting to go into the condenser coil. So yeah, that's, you know, that's one thing that's nice about the manufacturers that actually put it on the discharge gas and the liquid line both, so you can actually see if you have anything weird going on in your condenser coil. So too big for your britches, ha ha ha. No, I don't think I'll ever get that humongo. You know, it's all kind of been amazing, honestly. I've really enjoyed it. You know, I had that weird shaky beginning and things like that. And, you know, so far everything's been going really smoothly. I've been trying to be considerate and all that on the videos and not rock any boats, and, you know, just show the video and don't give too much opinion to where it would be taken wrong. So, you know, so far things have been going great. My employer's been awesome about it. And, you know, I can't be happier. Everything's working good on that. Yeah, it sucked. Yeah. So anyhow, what do we got going on here? We got any? Doesn't look like we got any questions or anything like that yet. But yeah, that video was kind of interesting. I was there, like I said, 30 days ago, the one that I just released 2 days ago. and found the leak. We found it there on the discharge side on the condenser coil. Now, I do want to make sure you guys understand, I'm not advocating for you to half-ass everything and just not pull vacuums and not change filter dryers. Under the case of what I was doing, I never let it go into a negative. The machine never went into a negative. And so if it always stayed positive and nothing but refrigerant gases in there, that's when I would do what I did. Now, on this other repair that I've got to do, where I've got to take some oil out of the compressors and then make the repair, that one's going to get a new filter dryer. It's going to get evacuated and all that. Because I mean, most of the time you're just fighting the refrigerants in the oil. If you ever poured some of the oil into like a clear container and watch the refrigerant boil off, it's nuts how long it goes for. And you can see real quick why it takes so long to pull a vacuum on a refrigerant system, because it just doesn't want to let go of it. And then the other thing you want to also remember is, a vacuum pump, theoretically, what they always say is you can't pull the moisture out of the oil with the polyester oil. That's what the filter dryer is for. So all you can do is get the non-condensables and things like that. The dryer is going to get the moisture. So that's why you've always got to try to get it sealed back up quickly and not leave things open, absorbing the moisture. Yeah, the gauge ports. I see that a lot of times on the suction dryers, because that's usually where it's going to make more of an impact on the system. If it's on the suction side, you don't have as much room for error. That's why a lot of times you want to make sure you're going back and removing your suction dryer after you do a cleanup. I'm not one that usually uses suction dryers a lot unless it's really, really bad. I'm kind of getting to the point now where I'm not a big fan of flushing either. I've kind of had some issues with that. But in my mind, the way I kind of look at it is you're going to get most of your cleaning in your liquid side. The liquid's going to be moving the oil the most, and it's going to end up catching most of the gunk. But I know, like in the commercial refrigeration, stuff like that, the suction pressure is really important to keep a close eye on it and then remove it. Of course, on the big stuff, they're using the core dryers, so it's easy to go back and change them, isolate it, and then bop it right out. What do we got going on here? Yeah. I was listening to a Sporlan podcast, and they were talking about how the polyester oil is made, and it was kind of interesting. But polyester oil is made with an acid, and I think water or something. It was kind of weird what he said. It was really weird, and he explained it, and that's the reason why when it starts to absorb the moisture, then it turns back into its base substances that it's made with, and then that's when obviously you lose your insulation and stuff on your windings, and then you end up losing your compressor to a short internally from winding to winding. So, Yep. Well, and the big problem too with the polyester oil is just the way it scrubs the inside walls of the refrigerant lines. And it picks all that carbon and crap up, and then you have one of those TXV failures that I showed in 2 videos ago for the bonus footage, and that's pretty obvious where that came from, because that was a fairly newer system. So I usually, for like my liquid dryers, I'll use the 083 or 163. Those are my 2 most common ones that I use most of the time. Wow, great. Sorry to hear that, David. Hopefully everything's just as mild as what I've heard from pretty much everybody that I know that's gotten it. I've only had one person that had a family member die, but they had other issues. And basically, my one sister got it, and most she's got is a little bit of a headache and loss of smell and loss of taste. And then another guy I knew had it, and he had the smell and taste thing too, and even had heart issues and didn't have anything major happen at all. So I feel as though it's being blown out of proportion myself personally. It will probably kill the older people and things like that, but my feeling is stay home. You should be retired, taking it easy anyway. The rest of us need to work, keep things moving along. So, No symptoms at all. So what provoked you to go get tested? I mean, was there a reason? Was you around somebody that had it? What exactly was the put a lot of salt in food? So you did lose some taste, I assume. I'm sure there's quite a delay. I'm not sure how much the delay is on the messaging versus the live feed, because I mean there's a 30-second delay for most of what's going on. Like right now, everything I'm saying happened 30 seconds ago, so it's old news. But I'll wait for the response on that. Is a big vacuum pump bad for contaminated systems? Are we talking like moisture and stuff? I mean, I'm going to say, you know, my feeling, the authority on vacuum pumps and stuff is going to be Jim Bergman. That's where I've learned most of my vacuum stuff from. So, I mean, he's got videos on whether or not you can really freeze the moisture in the system if you're pulling down too quickly and all these other things. And myself, I mean, my field piece vacuum pump's an 8 CFM, and then my JB is a 6. And I've never noticed anything bad. I mean, most of your cleanup's going to be done with your filter dryers and proper refrigeration practices and stuff. So I'm not as worried about the vacuum size, especially when we're doing the, just an evaporator startup on a new system. I mean, I'm pulling them things down to 80 microns, stuff like that, which is nuts. And you're doing it sometimes in less than 10 minutes. So it's nuts, but yeah, we are essential. That's definitely the case. I kind of still don't know if it's really fair that everyone else got to sit home and get paid $600 extra while we went out and ended up having to take the chance of getting it if it was really so bad. So I think that was a little bit of a shaft job on the working man. But hey, I'm a little jaded there, obviously.
But what you don't realize is they got to pay taxes on that extra $600 at the end of the year.
Yeah, but it was free money they didn't earn, so whatever.
They still have to pay taxes on it.
Boo-hoo. I'll be all right with that. So, but yeah, on the video and stuff. But that was one of the things I definitely wanted to put out there, as far as the proper procedures for all the rest, and also just depending on the application. There's certain times when you do a nitrogen test and times that you don't. I had one video, and I don't remember if I ever released it or not, but I had leaking valves on a compressor. It was a semi-hermetic compressor on a walk-in cooler. And basically, when I did my pressure test, I went higher than what the refrigerant pressure was, and it leaked through the valve, and I contaminated the system, which then really screwed me, because now I had to recover all that refrigerant, then pull a vacuum, change the dryer, and recharge it. And how much time did that add just for trying to make sure what I should have probably been able to see as far as a visual inspection of my braze joint. So, it's just one of those learning experiences that, you can only do certain things, and you learn what really does matter and what doesn't a lot of times. So, that ain't good. Clogged filter. Should put him in one of those 5-inch ones. That's what I like the best whenever I do any type of work like that. Best vacuum pump for burnout. I mean, the vacuum pump ain't going to do nothing. I mean, all that's going to do is get the moisture and non-condensables. It's not going to get out any charcoal, any type of nastiness as far as any chunks of anything. So, I mean, vacuum pumps just mainly going to get rid of your moisture and non-condensables. So your cleanup should be done either the flush, which is debatable whether or not it's worth a squat. I sometimes feel as though maybe it's breaking things loose and creating more issues, or just using a filter dryer. I've also used in the past the acid neutralizer, and that's worked out well too. I haven't lost a compressor, anytime soon afterwards. So that's worked out too. I'm not real big in the additives and things like that, but I kind of feel as though if they got something that works there, great, and it seems to. And if it's made by New Calgon, you would think it's probably fairly safe. But on anything that's in warranty, you definitely want to talk to the manufacturer and get their blessing first, because they will possibly do a chemical analysis on the oil that basically to try to avoid the warranty if you didn't do things right. April air thermostat clicks twice when calling for heating or cooling, but it's not a heat pump. So why would it? Maybe it's engaging and disengaging. So it might be being powered up. I'm assuming maybe it's one of those ones that has the power to it. It's got a digital readout with an outdoor ambient sensor on it, possibly. So maybe it's engaging because it's getting woke up. I'm not sure. Otherwise, like I said, most April airs, I'm only hooked up one of the thermostats. Otherwise, I usually like to use thermostats that's got the humidity, dehumidity all built into it. So I haven't really heard of that too awful much. So ever put power outage devices to different system to shut down? You mean like a UPS battery backup type deal? We haven't particularly done that. I mean, if you was going to do that, and if there was something weird that would create, reason for that, I mean, I would probably isolate it into the control voltage section and not so much into the driving section of like your big heavy duty high amperage components. That way it could handle it. But even then, half the time those don't last very long. Maybe if you're lucky, yeah, it just, there's not much out there that's going to be able to handle a compressor or anything like that. So, I mean, what else do we got going on here? So, yeah, I've been using my probes off and on. And then I got another set of Testo 550s I found on Facebook Marketplace. They're brand new. Guy I found out later why he had them. And basically he buys semi-loads of damaged equipment. And a lot of times it's plumbing and stuff. So he's buying water heaters and furnaces, and they might get scratches and dents, stuff like that. And he had a set of the 550s in there. And he wanted $120 for them. They were brand new. The serial number says 2019. And I drove about an hour on the bike. So it was a nice ride, and ended up getting them and then tested out the probes. And I found one of the probes was damaged. So I ended up getting them for $60. And found one brand new probe on Amazon for $47. So I have less than $120 in a almost $250, $300 set of gauges that are better than, analog. So, little quick story there on that and stuff. So, I have some of the aluminum. I need to talk to Solder Weld. I noticed some of the other guys and stuff have gotten their hats and their little care package thing that's got all the different types of aluminum welding and all that. So, I mean, if they're interested in sending me one of those little packages, and I can put their little sticker in on one of my toolboxes or something, so it advertises for them and trade for it. I'm a whore for hire like that. So, but I'd like to try it out and see if it's any good. I have some aluminum rods that I bought at a gun show. That the guy did it on a little 12-ounce aluminum can, punches a hole in the bottom of it, heats it up with a hand torch, does a circle a few times on the base metal, and then it does it solid. And I've used that on drain pans before, on true drain pans that were aluminum, and I played around with it on a few different things. But when I tried it on that train unit, it wasn't that particular one, but it was another one at a hotel once. It ended up collapsing on me. It was so super thin. And then also, far as the aluminum, if you know how it actually has to be welded and stuff, it's got to be kept clean. It oxidizes almost immediately. So you've got to have a flux of some sort in there. And that rod that I had didn't have no flux and stuff. Better digital or analog? Well, I guess myself, I like digital, but I also like analog. I have both. And as you see, sometimes I have these little beater ones that have like 3-foot hoses on it, that I use those for my pressure switches because they're faster. The generic yellow jackets, the ones I started out with, still are some dang good gauges. And then some people buy the Titans that are the, what are they, 1-1-2-1, so 1% in the low range, or is it 2-1-2? Basically, it's more accurate in the low and then the high or whatever. So I like the digital, but it just depends on the brand of it. But if you're new, I go with pretty much the consensus everyone else says. Start off with the analog and learn how to do it that way first. it's neat that the gauges calculate your superheat and subcooling for you, and it saves. For me, the reason why I switched to was because we work with so many different refrigerants. So getting out your PT chart for all that crap over and over, when you're just doing 410 and 22, it's not a big deal. But when you add in there 407C and D and 422D and 134A and 404 and all that crap, it's too much of a pain in the butt. But the digital is a little more accurate, and it just makes it a little more easier and stuff. So hopefully that answers that for you. The blue hoses are a real high price. I bought mine. Nobody gave them to me. The True Blue hoses, I bought the 2 individual little kits for $165 or $170 a piece. So I bought the first one and then tried it out. Was so impressed, I ended up getting another one. So I was kind of like, oh yeah, we'll do the one hose deal, which, everybody's like, oh yeah, that's what you need to do. It's a lot quicker. And what if you have a little bit of a restriction or something on the other side and you're trying to pull? How long are you going to dink around, waiting around to hope to find out if it's going down or not? So I like to be able to see right away if it's going down. I like to see whether it's going to hold and things like that. So anyhow, plumbing torch. You've probably, I don't know if you guys, you've seen it in a couple of them where I've used it to melt on non-explosive refrigerants to melt the ice off. So you got to be careful of that with the 22 or R290 stuff. I've not gotten gutsy enough, or I should say stupid enough. But Adam's not going to make it tonight, darn it. But that's cool. No big deal. Haven't heard from the old curious guy yet, so I don't know if he's on concert tonight doing a solo act or what. But Appion hoses. Yeah, I mean, if you notice that 3/8 hose I've got, those are what I used for my evacuations. Those were my first big hose I had. And so, I mean, those were like $65 a piece. And then me and another guy was actually pulling down, we were changing condenser coils on a water to air chiller, and we were changing condenser coils. And that's how I found out more along the lines of that process. What we were doing it in the middle of winter. So trying to charge 150 or 175 pounds, I think is what it was, back into a system, it's going to take forever when it's wintertime. So that's when I seen him do it at first, I kind of like, dude, I don't know if I like that. And then after I've done it several times and found out there ain't nothing wrong with it, and it works good as long as you're bleeding everything. Basically that's where I kind of picked it up from. It was on a repair that I seen it done, and it worked out really well. And then, especially say you've got, I don't know, what was the circumstance? I'm trying to remember. I think it was, they couldn't run the chiller because maybe the inside was shut down. So it wasn't like we were going to be able to run it. It was a production chiller. So it was used for, cooling machinery. So it wasn't like we could just, push the contactor in and make it run. So that's why we had to pump it in. And when we did the recovery, I guess I'm getting off track. He was using the 3/8 hoses and I was using the quarters, and I was obviously had my valve cores pulled, and I was using 2 1/4-inch hoses. He only pulled from 1 3/8 hose and then shot it into the tank with a 3/8 hose, and he beat me by almost probably 20 minutes. So that kind of pissed me off. So that's when I decided to go with the 3/8 when it's feasible. I ain't doing it all the time. I keep that with the recovery machine. I don't always get the humongo hoses out. I don't always shoot for, perfect vacuum, but I do try to make sure I do it right and use the best practices possible and stuff. So, I mean, I think all of us have kind of have confessed to it that, we try to do it best as we can, but there's certain times, certain situations that they just can't necessarily spend all day there doing it. If you got other calls to run, the customer's really watching the clock on you, whatever the case, I mean, there's certain times and certain situations where you just can't quite do it. But the Appion's good hoses. I haven't had no problems with those. Now the valve core tools, my previous ones, they lasted for a while, but then eventually they started to leak. I rebuilt them and they leaked. And I've had the best luck so far with the CPS, not CPS, the ones with the yellow color to them. They're not I've bragged about them before in the past. I just can't remember the name right now. But those have been my favorite valve core tools. My True Blue ones, my Appion, or not Appion, AccuTool ones, my little tip on the end of it, it was somehow pressure fitted on there, or what have you. And it actually came apart, and it's not pinned. I actually took a picture of it. I'm going to get a hold of AccuTools and see if they'll do a warranty claim for me, because none of it's over a year old, I believe. So let me take a peek here. I got way too many freaking pictures. Here it is. Yeah. Basically, I hate showing you like that, but you can see right there that the tip, that red stuff is me putting Loctite on it, but that was pressed on there originally. But my other ones that are a little bit, I kind of feel as though better, have a pin in there. Now, Bergman told me he thought those were a little more dangerous because something that we could possibly shear off, but I'm not really sure how it would shear off if you're just unscrewing a Schrader core. So, yeah. Anyhow, but that was some of the new stuff there for me. I've got a few other videos I've got here of doing a PM at a school, doing a few, I don't know, it was a 2, 4, 6, 8, I think 8 convection ovens, a double-decker steamer, and quite a few little reach-ins and things like that. So I've got a lot of videos, and I've kind of thought about just dumping a crap load of them and just like throw them together type deal. But I end up finding one that I like better, and then I end up putting those in ahead of the others. So what do we got going on down here? HVAC shop talk in the house. Oh man, he's stuck in a hotel. The big Zachariah is stuck in the hotel, dying inside. I thought you were in a rental home. Will they kick you out then? She had me looking too, something about you maybe switching to Saturdays, which is fine with me. I might switch over to your Sunday since I don't hear that you're not doing that no more. So
you guys should talk.
Let's have shop talk. So, yeah. What do we got going on here? 25-year-old R22 system, the evaporator coil has a leak, so I need to replace it. But no distributors will sell me a coil because I don't have an HVAC license. I don't understand that, other than maybe they're just trying to be loyal to their dealers. But go when the dealers aren't there, because most of them are after the money and they pretend they won't sell to the public. And if it's just a coil, there's no refrigerant in it, so there's no reason why they shouldn't sell it to you. They're just probably trying to be, I don't know. It's hard to say. So everybody's got an HVAC friend. I have millions of friends. They all seem to call me as soon as their stuff breaks. So I'm sure everyone knows about that. Not doing anything regular anymore. Really?
Does that include pooping?
Yeah. The dispatcher wants to know if you're still pooping, though. So
yeah.
Inquiring minds want to know.
We do.
I get you, man. I wasn't going to be doing this no more, but somebody decided that because a few people asked about it, that I should do it. So, hey, here I am. And my gift to Gab obviously works sometimes here. The EPA, yeah, the EPA license, when we first took it way back in the day, man, they were like time sensitive, send it to you. It had to be like overnighted. They had to take the test. It had to be back in the mail, overnighted back to them. I mean, it was so stupid. Now you can do it online, I think. I don't know, maybe.
You can do everything online now.
It might be open book test. I mean, and honestly, what was funny was I had my universal certification and never worked on a chiller. So type 3 was a chiller. It's like, and I passed the middle section before I passed the other section. I forget what it was. So, but then, it's kind of funny. It was all about whether or not you knew the law. It wasn't really nothing about whether you knew what you were doing. So basically just don't vent refrigerants. I mean, they could have got it as simple as that, and make sure you pull it into a negative before you unhook it. So any tips for new tech leaving the appliance repair to commercial? Just keep it simple. I mean, break it down. I mean, it's everything is controlled by a expert. What I do a lot of times, basically, I will ask, like, say I'm working on some kitchen equipment. I mean, I've got experience with it, but I'm obviously not as good at that as what I do as far as my refrigeration or something like that. So or a steamer, for example. I don't know, does the steamer's timer work this particular way? Or, how does it work? So a lot of times I'll ask them, hey, so when you're getting ready to use this, how do you get it ready to go? And then I would say, far as the other thing, Chris has got his big picture diagnosis. I like to compare it to building your case, kind of like a detective, because you've got to ask the customer the right questions and ask them in the right way that, they'll answer it if you just ask the right questions. Because as you learn the operation of the equipment, what has to be done, what order of things work and things like that, and just keep it simple. And, and then if they don't know, you can always, educate them on how things work, basics. Don't go nuts. You don't have to tell them how the superheat works and all that, but, keep it simple. Hey, it's a hunk of metal and it gets hot and the fan comes on and blows across it. That's a gas furnace. It doesn't have to be complex, but just mainly talking to your customer, educate them to the point, not condescending or anything like that, but just communicate to them how it works, what to look for. That's if you can't find the problem. Just go through and check the normal things, your switches, your wires. Just take your time, do the job right. Don't get too much into a clock watcher, because if you get all scared that you're getting there too long, whatever the case, that'll make you freeze up and you'll screw up and it'll take longer. I know when I first started, if I usually gave myself at least an hour to an hour and a quarter before I'd call for help. If I couldn't figure it in that time, then I would say, okay, I tried as hard as I could. Now I'm going to call for help. But don't be one of the ones that hop right on freaking Facebook. Hey guys, I have 250 pounds of head and 130 pounds suction. What's wrong with my equipment? They're going to eat you alive. So, find you somebody that you can kind of rely on and stuff. And just ask the right questions. I'm scrolled down as far as I can go.
Scroll back up.
I know that Residential Basics, that's just a Sennheiser 835. It's just a dynamic microphone. I am noticing that it does sound better than this freaking one. And this one's a condenser mic, which means it's powered. And so, you get closer to it and it still don't have the proximity effect, which a lot of times they don't want that. That's where it gets bassier as you get closer to it. But I don't know. I've got 2 or 3 of those. So, I could always switch to that, but
We could do, HVAC survival ASMR version for those of you that really enjoy ASMR. I hear that's quite the rage all these days.
I'm not into that.
Me either.
Yeah, sure. So I'm getting some more text as here's what do we got going on? Sorry, Rick, wife and daughter had a little birthday thing for me tonight. Couldn't duck out early. No, that's cool, man. No worries. Boom, reply. So the curious ZZ Top Man will not be here either. So I guess I'm riding solo. So it's time to roll dirty. That's why I've got
Riding dirty.
My dispatch woman here with me. So
there was another really good question. No, go back down. Go the other way. So someone asked a really good question about how you handle, I think it was Joe. Yeah, right there. How do you handle your friends when you need to fix their stuff? That's a very complicated question.
Yeah. Depends on how by the book you want to be. Technically, my employer had more paperwork to sign than any employer I've ever done. I almost left there. It took almost an hour and a half or more of signing documents when I got hired of all the things I won't do. But generally, I charge everybody about the same. And my feeling is on friends is charge them all. Family, unless they're like her mom and dad or something like that. I charge them all. Aunts and uncles, stuff that you don't see very often, cousins, stuff like that. Charge them all. Find out, I do it for about $10 less than we charge at the company. And I charge the same way. I charge from the time I leave my house till I get back to my house. So, I'm not giving them a great deal, but they don't have to use you. You don't owe them nothing unless they've done something for you. So, if they, or you can play the games. You can play, hey, I'm too busy. I can't get there. I'm working over. I'm on call, whatever. But unfortunately, if you're not straight up honest with them, a lot of times they'll say, oh, I'll wait. No problem. And, you're not going to get out of it that easy. So Myself personally, I always kind of explain it that, hey, I'm going to charge you, and when I need something done, I will pay you, and that way nobody owes anybody anything. Because unfortunately, in the early years, used to do a lot of different jobs and stuff. I used to do window units and things like that, and car air conditioners. I had a friend that did rebuild cars, so I was converting old R12 to 134A systems way back at the end of the 90s, early 2000s. And I charged him too. So I mean, basically that's what I do. I charge them all, or you just tell them you're not allowed to, one or the other. I'm getting to the point now where I don't really want anything. I am so burned out right now that I don't care about the money, and I just don't want nobody to bother me. By the time I get home, it's just the night's almost pretty well ruined anyhow. So I'm burnt right now. I'm tired of it. I don't care about making the extra, 60 to $150 for something quick and easy. I mean, it's nice, but I'm in a different place now than what I was when I was first starting out. So,
oh, hey, Residential just got a Rodecaster
wow.
Pro, which that's what we're using.
Yeah. You got a heck of a deal. It was a $600 mixer. I think I got mine for $525, brand new. So it's a good mixer. If you're going to use this freaking StreamYard though, the UV meter VU meter is not accurate. I notice I'm way down low in my levels, and yet I was overmodulated the last couple times. And this mixer's dead nuts on. I mean, it's when it says 0 dB, you should be at 0 dB, but unfortunately
Zach
it's not accurate.
Means the USB mic, not the mixer.
Oh, okay. My bad.
Never mind.
I thought it didn't sound right. Yeah. You'll love it either way, man.
Rode makes good stuff.
Yeah, all of it's good stuff. It's all made over in Australia, and it's all made in-house. So, I mean...
And it's made with love.
The guy is pretty interesting. I mean, he's pretty proud of the fact he has the CNC machines and things like that to build the equipment right in there. I've thought about getting the Rode mic. There's 2 different ones I was eyeballing, but it just really depends on whether I keep doing this. I mean, if I actually, go somewhere with this live stream stuff and it actually takes off to something, I mean, granted, I'm going to need to start preparing some sort of material to talk about, because coming in here empty-handed really don't work out so well after a while.
Prepare?
Yeah. For what? So
you never prepare for anything.
Pretty much, no. I mean, I've noticed that though, even when I used to do announcements and stuff at weddings and stuff, if you worry about what's up uncensored, when you worry about what you're going to say next, that's when you're going to screw it all up. And the thing I always get so worried about was the freaking names. And I did some weddings where they had some of the weirdest cornball names, and oh my God, I would phonetically spell them out so that I could read them, because they were that weird, and because there was no Smith Millers or anything like that. And then they were never spelled like the way what they were said. And so to say the least, yeah, I try not to overthink it too much. But Gil, man, you want to come on? I can send you a link. That would be like awesome, man. Interview the interviewer. So I can send you a copy.
That whole copy to clipboard button works the same way.
Yeah. Boom.
Just saying, gotta work smarter, not harder, babe.
Yeah, whatever. Granted,
You just put it in the wrong spot.
No, I didn't. I don't have him on, I don't think I have him on Facebook, so I have no way to communicate directly with him. So all I can do is put it out here where everybody sees it. But see, I get to dictate who takes it. I just got home. Yeah, that's cool. I mean, I think I can hold out for another 30 minutes possibly. We're already at 40.
Talking about nothing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Blah, 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 blah,
This is Rick.
blah, blah, blah,
All the time.
Blah, blah, blah.
Which is why I never talk.
Love you.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, it's if you can, I can probably hold them off that long. I was trying not to go the full 2 hours, because I mean, generally the video never gets watched if it goes that long, unfortunately. So, but yeah, it's just one of them things where it, I don't know, try to keep it moving along. And, and it's just as far as answering any of the questions on the videos, stuff like that, we can bounce back to it. And if you have anything too, that you wanted to ask me, that's cool too. I'm pretty much open to about anything. So,
Mr. Ice has a good question for you, Ricky.
where's that at?
He wants to know, inquiring minds want to know, do you prefer refrigeration work or HVAC work? They're dying to know. Lots of people want to know.
I have
what are your thoughts?
always liked air conditioning more than I have heating. So now I like refrigeration better than just regular old HVAC. And a lot of it's because it's I hate to call it newer, but it's definitely more challenging depending on what it is I'm working on. Because I mean, like the supermarkets and stuff like that, I worked on them 20 years ago, and it was only for a few months. So it's been a crushing learning experience. So although everything's just hunky-dory out here in my videos on the stuff I show you, I have my own problems when I'm on things that I've never got to work on before, or, it's fairly newer, or, you're working on a computer system that you've never used before, or it's the old control system that don't work because all the buttons are bad and the screens are bad. Now you're going through a DOS program, and there's only one of them that works, and it's a laptop with, I think, XP on it that you're trying to use, and everything is A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, and enter. And you're trying to bring a rack back online into certain cases, and you're trying to look through the history. And I'm getting tired of this dog. You need to do something with it. Or
Put her down.
yeah. So basically, I like the refrigeration as much as it drives me nuts sometimes, not knowing or having to ask for a little help on certain things. I do enjoy it. I always have been one that wants to know more than what someone else knows. I always, feel as though the more you know, the more you're worth. And so, and you're going to be more valuable. So, right now I'm the only guy doing the ice cream stuff. The other guy left. So I'm the only guy for that. Granted, the other guys could fix the refrigeration part, but where they're going to stumble is in the control section of the ice cream machines. So, and then we've got some that won't work on anything except for refrigeration. And, I'm willing to do some of the different things like ovens, things like that. So, yeah, I like the refrigeration the best.
So residential is kind of piggybacking off of that. He wants to know, what's your biggest challenge with refrigeration?
Here, you want the mousey? That way you can highlight it and stuff like that.
I thought you would never ask.
Yeah, there you go.
Thanks, babe.
Yep. Biggest challenge right now, and obviously my walk-in coolers, things like that I've done a million videos on. That's what the other guys don't want to work on, so that's what I've worked on the most. Same thing with ice machines. They hate them. We all hate them now, but so that stuff there I'm pretty doggone good at. But on like the rack and stuff, I'm learning, the valves, headmaster, now it's open on differential, and a holdback valve is open on rise because they're so big. They, but when you're getting in there and you're trying to figure things out in the rack, that's some of it. We do production facilities. So I've been through the chiller classes a few different times. So the chillers, although I'm really good at geothermal, and that's basically a chiller, I just haven't got to do a crap load of chillers. So eventually I'm going to get nailed at 2:00 in the morning on some of this stuff. And, I had one last week when I was on call, and it was production. They built field tile and stuff, and the machines were used to cool the molds that they were making the tile. But my biggest problem there was the guy that was leading me around didn't know how to turn on the machinery. And he led me to the wrong chiller. So we wasted a bunch of time on the wrong one. And eventually we ended up finding the right one. And then it was something stupid like the circulator pump was fried to ground. So honestly, a lot of times it comes down just to if you overthink it and over worry about it, you can worry about things that'll never happen. So I try not to get too excited or worried about it. Just deal with it when it comes, type thing. So if you guys would hit the like button down there, I do appreciate that. I already had one good buddy out there hit the down thumbs down. I wish they kind of put the middle finger in there. I thought that'd be kind of cool. So I thought that'd be kind of neat. Here's one you missed. Have you had issues with hot gas reheat and no reheating the air enough for dehumidification? I have a 20-ton water source heat pump with low head. Installers hooked it to 55-degree processed chilled water. I've got a exercise place. I don't want to use names, but like I mentioned it before in one of the other chats and stuff, it has a chiller ran to it. It has a boiler hooked to it, and it has its own internal water source, coaxial coils with the reheat coils and stuff in there. And then depending on the machine, the problem as far as getting, I guess I'm going to get sidetracked and go into way too much detail, which is one of the things I do sometimes, and I apologize for that.
Focus.
I'm getting there. So basically, my as far as issues with it, have you had issues with gas reheat not reheating the air? So I'd be curious. I know, is the boiler not keeping the water hot enough for you to get the dehumidification process? I guess I'd be wondering, is it recirculating the hot gas into it with the evaporator coil? Do they have an external boiler hooked into it with it also? I guess, there's so many things there. I'm not a wizard on it. So the ones I have done a lot on is just more the 5-ton, area geothermals, as far as they have reheat in them in some of the commercial apps, which we've had a lot of issues with. Usually it's when they're trying to run cooling in the middle of winter. But yeah.
Hands off, buddy. This is my rodeo now.
Well, you're not paying attention
Yes,
to the
I
people
am.
there.
You keep unclicking what I'm going to click.
Well, click it then.
I'm going to. Watch me. I'm going to click. I'm going to click. See, this question was
So
asked.
there's Mr. Ice asking a question.
But this one was asked twice now, and you skipped over it last time.
All right, didn't see it.
Mm-hmm.
Does a bad LP switch on a pump down system can cause a compressor to go on thermal overload, 3-phase system? Oh, low pressure. I'm thinking a liquid propane. I'm thinking furnace. Okay. Yeah, low pressure. Does a low pressure switch on a pump down system, can it cause a compressor to go into thermal overload? If it's short cycling, possibly. I mean, you could have, and when you have that, like say it's low on charge or something, you'll pump the oil right out of the compressor. So, I don't know if that's possibly one of those type of systems or what have you. So, it's possible. I would say check your pressure switch and see if it's in the accurate range. If not, change it and get it set up, and maybe you may have to tweak it a little bit more. What else we got? Have you ever linked K2 controllers using a laptop, making one a master and one a slave? Whoops, I guess it's primary and secondary. Not allowed to say master or slave anymore.
Good call, Mr. Ice. Good call.
Yeah. I only have one location that has the controller. It is a Roadhouse, and it's an outside company that takes care of it. And what's kind of crappy is they take care of it through the week, but on the weekend, they don't have to do it. And that's when we get called. So you got to go out there and try to figure it out. And I got the password and stuff written down in certain areas and things like that. So I've heard it's easier. The guy told me he was going to leave me a controller so that I could log into it in one of the units, and I have never been back since. So thank you for that super chat. Click on that $4.99 there. I don't know who it's from. HVAC Whiz, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Awesome. And if there's anybody else that did that, by all means, I'm sorry if I haven't seen it. For some reason, it's not coming in with any noises for some reason.
Cha-ching, cha-ching.
Yeah,
There's your
usually
noise.
does. It should have.
I'm your noise.
Yeah, you missed it though. So
Let's see what other things the Doreen public wants to know tonight.
thanks,
See,
Whiz. Yep.
it's down there.
How often do you need a maintenance tune up on your vacuum pump? I don't know. There's a whole lot you can do to it. Basically, it's got some veins in there. So for me, the main thing's always been just keep the oil changed. I've never wore out a vacuum pump ever. So yeah. And then that field piece one I've got, I haven't tore it apart to look inside yet or anything, but I don't know if there's anything special about that causes any issues and stuff. What else do we got?
Ray says he changes his every 3 times in use.
When I first came to this company, I started doing it every time. because I wanted to pull perfect vacuum, blah, 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 blah. So I don't do that so much anymore.
Poor Mr. Residential.
Yeah. Yeah. That's funny. Yeah. I mean, this political correctness crap, I don't get it. And I think the people that they're afraid of offending don't even care. So, I mean, at least the ones I talk to, but I think everybody's different, but whatever. We're becoming a little too overly obsessed with it, I think. And I think it's purposely being done just to divide us, unfortunately. So
I agree.
what else do we got there?
That's it.
Nothing else?
We're at the bottom. You guys we need some more questions, people.
Yeah, you don't want to know my blood type, social security number, maiden name of my mother, anything like that. I mean, I was really hoping somebody'd ask something good. So like that, yeah.
Ooh, here's something fun we could do. I mean, you're like a year or so late on the whole bandwagon, but you know,
HVAC
look at Gil.
Holy dog.
Big spender Gil. Wow.
Holy crap.
Thank
I'm going to have to
you.
wait another half an hour for him. So it should be about 20 minutes now.
Woo, thank you.
Thank you,
Gil.
sir. That it is not making no ding dong noises at all. And I have
Ding
the
dong,
USB
ding
turned
dong.
up. I should be able to hear it.
Anyways, what I was saying. So this was probably about a year or two ago. Everybody was doing the Ancestry DNA test, and they were revealing their Ancestry DNA results on, live on their live stream. And that was quite the rage. So, if you guys are really nosy and you want to know Ricky's DNA results, I can hook you up with that. You just gotta let us know. Be something weird to watch.
Yeah, I ended
That's
up
not
doing
HVAC related.
Very interesting.
It was very interesting for sure.
Yep.
Definitely not what we thought.
No. Nope. Definitely odd. Because like I said, as far as the adoption thing that I mentioned before in the past, some of the siblings of, the people that I assumed were the biologicals were related to me. So obviously they weren't lying. So it's, you see the personalities and stuff and you're like, yeah, there's no way it's not. So, but it's kind of neat to get that actual verification that, yeah, this guy that you're spending time with isn't really some stranger. So anyhow, yeah, it's
Mr. Ice has a good one. I actually know what this brain device machine is because we actually have some of these at the hospital.
I think I might have worked on one. I think they look a lot like one of the other, like a Manitowoc or a Scotsman. I forget. I haven't worked on many of them. Usually around here, my biggest things that I work on is usually Manitowoc, Scotsman, and every now and again a Hajisaki. But generally, it's mainly those brands there. And then Hajisaki is usually one I have the more of an issue with, just because I don't work on many of them. But yeah, basics. And what's funny is, Diermeyer is a German name. So I was raised thinking I was German, but in reality, I'm not. So I'm actually from the England area, I guess. English.
Don't ruin it.
Yeah.
Don't ruin it.
Yeah. Well,
but actually, there is scandal within, because but we're not going to go into those details. But there is a quite the interesting doing his ancestry DNA on.
You talking about my 3%?
No, not the 3%. This is better than the 3%. I'm talking about, the secret I found.
Huh?
About the adopted family and the bio family.
Oh.
But don't ruin it for them. I want to see if there's interest here.
They don't care about that crap.
Oh,
they want to know
they
about
might.
how to blow up a compressor.
No, they might. You just don't know these things.
Charge $400 for a capacitor and make yourself feel good about it and stuff like that.
Ilmano 47 wants to know truck or van for working.
I have a van.
Down by the river.
I have a van down by the river. But I don't know. Our controls guys have Ford trucks, quad cabs with toppers or whatever on the back with the pull-out fancy slider deal, and they love that. I don't know if I would like it or not. I don't think the stuff would be as secured. I wouldn't like that. But I don't hardly stock crap on my truck anyway, so it's like not a humongo deal. But I would say I like the van better. And honestly, I like the Chevy vans the best, the old Chevy van that they still are selling. I don't like the Ford Transit. I don't like I mean, I don't mind my Toyota or my Nissan that I have. It's fast. It's got the big engine in it, but it don't have any room. It looks big. I can fit 7 dead bodies in the front, but I can't in the engine compartment. But I can't. It don't hold anything more in the back. So, is he related to Bill Russell? Who's that? Are we talking about?
ZZ Top.
Basics. Yeah, we talked about that. Nothing set in stone on that or not. I don't know if we're going to do anything like that or not. We was originally, but I didn't give him a whole lot to go off of. I'm not very good for interviews probably. So I have a tendency to not have anything in particular I wanted to talk about.
Chloe's got a bad case of the zoomies or something.
Yeah.
There's another one.
Digital gate's worth the money. I'm still rolling analog with temp clamps and hand calculations. Haven't failed, but thinking about upgrading. I liked it. I think I would go with the probes possibly. I don't know if I would spend the money I spent on the 557s. Those were pretty expensive. Those were like $600. But it's just one of them things where, he's not going to make it now. So, but yeah, go back to my comments and stuff. You wiped them out. Now you've completely, So far the gauges digital, I don't know. As much as I hate to say it, the 557s are not a bad deal. They're no more inaccurate than the analog is. Analog's usually 2%, 3%. So I'm pissy and about them not zeroing out. And it may have been just a programming issue with the 557s that they did it. But from what I was told, because the other thing about the 557s is also they don't have a atmospheric pressure compensated sensor. So you've actually put the barometric pressure in them where the 557s didn't. So if you want to spend the money, go with the 557s. If not, the 550s ain't bad. I don't like the looks of the yellow ones. They just are so flipping big. I mean, they bother me because they're so huge. So, don't know if I should do that or not. So, but anyhow, we're coming up on the 1 hour mark, and I said I was going to try to not go super long over on that. Maybe we could just do it real quick.
She doesn't want to go potty. She's sitting here in the bed, just rolling around and being silly. And we should be thankful that she's just rolling around the bed and barking and not at the little doorstop that goes and makes the little, noise, that noise, because she loves to sit there and play with those and then bark and roll and bark and roll. And it's so cute at first, but then it gets annoying because she will do it for 5 minutes straight.
Yeah, true.
True story.
True that. I mean, we could do probably real quick. If you want.
5 minutes.
All right. So we do got one person in here. We'll go ahead and bring him in. We're not going to stay on it very long, but what's going on, Zach? Isaiah, my bad. Yeah.
What's up?
I always see the Z and I end up freaking, it's just like when you take all the letters out of the middle and just had the first couple there and stuff. And
I got something pretty interesting to share with the fellas and everybody tonight in chat. I had a pretty interesting service call yesterday, Mr. Rick, on a walk-in cooler. This is a system my dad and I installed about close to 15 years ago. And what this was an emergency call. Like they came in late last night. And what the guy said was both evaporators, were iced up severely, about a 6-inch thick block of ice. So we, told him kill the power to them and thaw them out overnight. Well, come to find out, the second evaporator was still running, believe it or not, with the breaker. When we thought he killed the right breaker, this whole time the thing was icing up even worse. And what we found was that the pressure switch was stuck on both of them, not cutting them off. And this is a pump down system that we set up on this gas station. So and what was happening was it was going straight into a vacuum pretty much, like right into a vacuum.
Was it a timed off defrost or a heated defrost?
So I timed off defrost on it, and we're using
Yeah.
the Emerson Edison 2 control. We're using on this system, which controls everything in the store pretty much. And I think right about a year after we put that in, the screen had failed on it, and there's no way for that thing to be controlled properly. That's what's been happening on that system.
Was that an adjustable low pressure switch, or was it one of those little snap disc?
Yeah, but it's
Oh,
a
non-adjustable.
pressure switch. I don't like a heat craft. Came with that from the factory in 2007.
Yep. I see that a lot lately. I don't care for them. I'd rather have an adjustable on any day. I mean,
Right.
but you know, you can always throw one on there pretty quick and get it changed out and stuff. But yeah, that's one of them things that you want to try to test out while you're there type thing. Make sure it pumps down, especially after you add some refrigerant.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yes, sir. And we sat there for about an hour testing it.
Yep.
Hey,
They
I
can
got
throw.
it back running. Yeah, it's the only thing that counts.
I thought you guys did mainly like residential and stuff. I didn't know you did refrigeration.
Yeah, we do a good bit of commercial too.
That's cool.
Yes, sir. And I prefer, believe it or not, I prefer refrigeration over, residential AC. That's how I feel about it.
And that's the same thing with me too. I mean, I don't mind the people. I mean, I can deal with them, and especially if they want to watch and stuff, I could care less. I mean, if I really cared about people watching, I wouldn't be making videos. So I mean,
yes, sir.
I mean,
yes, sir.
Yeah, it just wouldn't make sense, would it? I mean, no, I don't want the one person watching me, but I want to have 8,000 people literally watch it online that I don't even possibly know. So yeah.
Yeah, I work at a call that the commercial building we take care of in St. Rose, Louisiana. They had people going over. Got so and so going over there for 15 years. Never could get the units to cool right. I went over there and straightened them out and got them cool. And they have one system that had a dead compressor that wouldn't stay running. It was over-amping, and I pretty much worked my magic and got that thing back up and running. And they were praising me, saying, "And you are, a grace that sent from God, the comfort doctor." That's what everybody's calling me.
Yep. And that's one of the cool things, especially when you build a relationship with your customer and stuff, and they know you by name, and you walk in there and you fix the things for them, and they count on you. I mean, like today, even though I'm not on call, my guy that he's one of my favorite ice cream places to eat at. He's got my favorite, which he sells the oatmeal cookie and it's made by Hershey's. And he called me today and said that his one side of his machine wasn't working right. And, he texted me. He didn't call me, ask me to come work on it. But, I feel like he's kind of a friend type thing. And so, like I told him, if I had to, I'll stop by and juice it up if that's what's wrong with it and get you by until Monday. So I mean, that's the kind of relationship I like to build with my customers and stuff that, that they can count on me and things like that. So, but yeah, we're at that 1 hour mark here. So I think I'm going to wrap this one up.
I'm exhausted.
Yep.
Matter of fact, after this summer's over, I'm probably not going to be on call for the rest of this fall. Probably. I got to spend some time getting our truck straightened out. I got two of them. Both of them are a freaking mess.
Wow.
So
yeah, that's
all right, brother. Good hearing. Good talking to you. I'll take it easy.
Thank you. Will do. You too.
Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye. All right, guys. So I'm going to probably say that we're going to go ahead and wrap this thing up. If you would hit the like button out there for me. I can tell already by just releasing more videos out, and the quicker I do it, the more YouTube's kind of shoving me out there in front of people. Because I mean, between that and the awesome guys, Brian Orr, he let me advertise on his Facebook page. He's got a crap load. I put one on Gil's website and Overtime too, both. And, that helped bring a bunch of new viewers in and stuff. So like I've always said, I always try to reply to all you guys' questions if I can, at least just to let you know that I care enough to at least to respond to you personally. I mean, there's canned responders where we can program it to do that, but that's not how I roll. I truly do enjoy talking to you guys, and I love hearing that, I'm making a difference. I mean, obviously for some people it's just old news, or maybe they just enjoy watching it because, they want to see somebody else go through the struggle they dealt with or whatever. But, I really get a kick out of helping you guys that are new, that are getting into the field, to try to give you some encouragement to stick with it. It's a very rewarding career. I'm very glad I went into it. It's, it's going to take care of you. We're needed. It's always going to be there through recessions, through viruses and everything. We've always been needed. So you're in the right career. Don't let a couple of the jerks out there and haters turn you away. And, when they say no, just keep going at it, because, that's how I had to do it. And, basically, you'll get ahead, whether they like it or not. If you keep trying, and you can only be responsible for yourself. So as long as you keep trying to learn, and taking notes on things you're learning and things like that, you will succeed. You will learn it. Just because you don't know it now, don't mean you'll never know it. So stick with it, guys. And like I said, if you would hit the like button, I appreciate everyone stopping by and saying hello. I am considering possibly maybe switching to a Sunday night show instead of a Saturday. That way there's not a mad dash rush to get there. And usually things are a little more chill on a Sunday anyhow. So, but yeah, and also don't forget to click the notification bell. If you just because you're subscribed doesn't necessarily get you the notification. So you want to make sure you click that bell, because it's a lot of times most of my people are seeing me just in the browse feature, and it tells me that. And so anyhow, I just want to throw all that stuff out there. GD Finola, thanks, man. I appreciate that. It's awesome. And yeah, Rich, I'm going to do that video on that stuff and things like that. And yes, Grandpa, definitely have faith. That's about the only thing you can rely on right now, is that. So, but other than that, guys, I appreciate y'all giving me a chance to, hang out with you tonight, and keep subscribing and keep watching and stuff. And we'll catch you guys on the next one. Have a great weekend. Stay safe, everybody. That's it. You're killing me.